What if tonight, when you lie down in the dark, you simply didn't close your eyes? What if you never had to sleep again? It's a seductive thought, right? Endless waking hours, infinite possibilities, a life completely free from the pause button of the night. But would you actually unlock superhuman potential? Or would your mind and body just shatter? We are diving into the ultimate biological mystery, a day-by-day descent into the absolute horror of what actually happens when we try to defy our own biology. To really grasp the gravity of staying awake forever, we've got to look at this massive chunk of existence we're trying so hard to escape. From the second you're born to the moment you die, you are bound to a biological mandate, one that leaves you totally vulnerable, paralyzed, and hallucinating in the dark every single night. We think of it as natural, but man, when you really think about it, it is a demanding, consuming part of our lives that we just surrender to without a second thought. 30 years. You will spend 30 entire years of your life completely unconscious, snoring, drooling, dreaming your absolute best years away. That is a staggering amount of time lost to the void. And honestly, it's exactly why the fantasy of limitless productivity is so incredibly tempting. Imagine getting decades of your life back. But nature didn't steal that time from you by accident. It demanded it for a very, very specific reason. And here is the terrifying, inevitable descent your body takes over just a few short days without it. Without the brain's critical nightly maintenance routine, you go from just kind of coasting on energy reserves on day 1 straight into a total system crash by day 3. And by day 6, a horrifying biological and psychological fracture. It is a one-way ticket to systemic collapse. What's absolutely fascinating here is how this shatters the whole myth that sleep is just rest. No, sleep is heavy-duty industrial maintenance. When you go to sleep, mental traffic clears out, allowing your brain to physically seal newly learned skills into your memory. But more importantly, it clears out dangerous byproducts. Think of them like lactic acid, but for your brain. If you deny this maintenance, you hit immediate sleep starvation. Toxins build up fast, and your actual neural pathways begin to actively break down. So, what happens on day 1? At first, it actually feels perfectly fine. You're cruising on the fuel from the night before. But then, you hit it, the wall of fatigue. Your brain is expecting its routine, so your pineal gland just dumps melatonin, desperately trying to force the sleep-wake cycle. Your central nervous system literally starts fighting against itself. Foggy thinking sets in, your reaction times drag. Historically, to push past this wall, people have had to rely on harsh stimulants, like soldiers staying awake for 36 hours straight in combat, or they just suffer through extreme physical withdrawals to override their own biology. Then, day 2 dawns. And weirdly, you might actually feel a little bit better. The sun comes up, your brain exits sleep mode, and you get this false, trick surge of daytime endorphins and natural opioids. But do not let it fool you. You are officially entering the zombie state. You start losing interest in the things you love. A terrifying, creeping disconnection from the world and from your own life is already taking root in your mind. And the damage isn't just in your head, it is actively hijacking your gut. On day 2, your appetite-regulating hormones just go completely haywire. Your body starts massively overproducing ghrelin, basically screaming at you that you're starving, while simultaneously underproducing leptin, which is the hormone that actually tells your brain you're full. So in this desperate, frantic bid for the energy you're denying it, your brain forces you to crave high-calorie junk foods. It is literally an internal hormonal hostage situation. By day 3, this physical exhaustion twists into something so much darker psychologically. Without any chance to refresh, your brain just stops producing feel-good chemicals like serotonin. The crash is violent. It's so intense that your physical sense of taste is actually depressed. That high-calorie food you were craving, it literally loses its flavor. Your favorite shows, your hobbies, even your sex drive, all of it vanishes. The world just goes completely gray. You have now entered a clinical state known as anhedonia, and this phase is truly chilling. You become totally emotionally flat. You can't express joy, you can't express anger, and you completely lose your capacity for empathy. To anyone looking at you, you appear entirely vacant. You are permanently trapped in a waking life where pleasure simply does not exist. Then comes day 4, and the biological horror becomes intensely physical. Imagine being so utterly exhausted that your body just forgets how to digest food. If you try to eat, you're hit with extreme nausea and crippling stomach pains, and it gets worse. This profound exhaustion strips you of basic muscular control, including your sphincter, leading to terrifyingly unpredictable accidents. You aren't walking at this point, you are stumbling. Your motor skills are so degraded that a simple standing height fall could easily be fatal. Because your brain is literally starving, it starts stealing what it needs by force. Enter the micronap. completely out of your control. Your brain will violently shut down for seconds, maybe even minutes, without you ever realizing it even happened. It's a terrifying, desperate survival mechanism. You could walk an entire city block with zero awareness. If you're doing something like driving, this biological hijack turns a totally routine task into a lethal gamble. Day 5. This is the critical threshold. Deep, profound depression is fully locked in. Your dopamine production has completely plummeted. And because your mental health is collapsing, the effects of the sleep deprivation are violently magnified. Your entire systemic defense network is compromised. Your body actually begins to aggressively turn on itself. Just look at the cellular breakdown happening here. Because you are denied stage 3 slow-wave sleep, cellular repair just stops entirely. Even minor cuts and scratches simply refuse to heal. Inside your veins, your immune system descends into total chaos. Your white blood cells start multiplying wildly, out of control, while your red blood cell counts take a dangerous nosedive. In a state this severely weakened, a simple common cold has the power to take you out entirely. By day 6, the exhaustion is so absolute that your brain basically struggles to process reality. You are way past just being tired. You are now trapped in a waking nightmare, as the boundaries between actual sensory inputs and your own imagination completely dissolve. Physically, you've transformed. Your blood vessels severely dilate, giving you these dark, horrific, bloodshot eyes. Mentally, you enter the hallucination phase. You start hearing phantom sounds. You see shadowy figures out of the corner of your eye. Crippling paranoia sets in, and because your neural pathways literally cannot store information anymore, your broken mind begins fabricating entirely false memories. Memories that feel so incredibly real, you have absolutely no idea they're fake. Now, crazy enough, we actually have a documented case of someone pushing incredibly deep into this territory. Back in 1964, a high schooler named Randy Gardner famously stayed awake for 11 straight days for a science fair project, monitored by Stanford researchers. He survived this legendary threshold, sure, but he suffered severe cognitive impairment, intense paranoia, and eventually he could only respond to questions in totally nonsensical gibberish. Because of this devastating cognitive breakdown, sleep deprivation was actually famously weaponized by the CIA as an enhanced interrogation technique. The whole idea was to lower a subject's resistance and exploit that dissociative state. But reports suggest that as a subject's mind becomes so entirely broken, the information they provide is completely useless. They are just too far gone to offer anything other than paranoid hallucinations and gibberish. Pushing past 2 weeks puts a human in entirely unmapped territory. It is so profoundly dangerous that the Guinness Book of World Records actually banned tracking it altogether. As your body's maintenance cycles catastrophically fail and the toxicity in your brain reaches lethal levels, you become a pioneer on the absolute frontier of permanent psychosis. Or inevitable death. There is no coming back unharmed. So knowing exactly what happens to your mind, your cells, and your sanity when that biological maintenance cycle breaks, will you ever take the dark for granted again? Was sleep actually humanity's greatest gift all along? The next time you hit the pillow and drift off, you might just be a little more thankful for that 30-year void. Thanks for checking out this explainer, and stay curious.